guys, this is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline, and today I am doing Comic Uno episode 67, and I know it's a tad bit on, not the late side, just on a different day side, because this week was my birthday weekend, so I didn't really have a lot of time to read the comics and binge read the comics like I usually do. And next week is New York Comic Con, so I'll be doing the same format. I'll probably have even less time next week, where I'll do the individual reviews as they come. I'll try to read some Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and just as the days goes on, I'll try to read my comics. And then whenever I finish them all, hopefully during the weekend, I will be doing Comic Uno episode. Now, that's only happening for these 2 weeks. After New York Comic Con, I'll be back to the normal schedule, where Friday will go have the regular individual reviews and Comic Uno episode on the same day. I like that format a little bit better. It's kind of easier for me than to worry about what days these videos go up. So it's just a little bit of a crazy 2 weeks. But let's get started talking about these comics. Sorry, I have a chair and I needed to get the comics. But yeah, so let's talk about it. I have 18 comics this week. Of course, we're going to worst pick of the week to best pick of the week. And let's get started. Number 18 is Future's End, issue 22. Yeah, Future's End is back on the bottom again, guys. Yeah, this issue just kind of bored me. You know, there wasn't a lot of bad issues that came out this week. There's, you know, some mediocre ones, some really awesome ones, but not a lot of bad issues. Future's End was one of those bad issues, though, just because, again, I was just really bored with it. What happens here, we don't really get to see the Shazam reveal and how people had that aftermath of the Shazam reveal. That was more in Superman Future's End, which I totally recommend. Love that issue. But we don't really get to see people react to Shazam being Superman, where I think that's where they actually promoted it. Hey, we're going to find out what happened after. I mean, he's on the cover, so you'd think, hey, we're going to get some aftermath here. But no aftermath. There's just a lot of boring stories here. I mean, the most interesting is Tim Drake obviously telling his girlfriend that he was Red Robin, and her still being very upset. We get to see some Firestorm interaction, and the scientist is a little crazy, and you can tell that. He doesn't really like the Justice League. And the other side of Firestorm, Ronnie, trying to make a better person of himself. We also get to see some Batman Beyond, which I don't really care about what he's doing here that much. Batman Beyond's just trying to tell everybody what's happening in the future with Brother Eye, and that's pretty much it. Then we have this whole Brainiac thing kind of becoming bigger, because that's been like a side story with Brainiac, and Brainiac is there, and then Black Adam comes out of nowhere. It's like, I'll help, and that's the issue. Yeah, so like I was saying, it's just a lot of, and just like every other Future's End issue, it's just a lot of stories into one issue, not really progressing much, and I just wasn't interested. It was just kind of boring to me. So art was consistent, but other than that, it's a boring issue. Sorry, took so long to explain Future's End, but wasn't that good. Alright, number 17 is Legendary Star-Lord, issue 4. This issue was okay. I think the art kind of brought it down, and since I'm not a big cosmic fan of Marvel, this is why I didn't enjoy it as much. I've been liking Star-Lord. I think it's a pretty cool series. I like the whole sister story arc, and I like the story arcs that actually have to do with Star-Lord himself, but not really the cosmic universe, which, I mean, maybe I should know better. That's obviously going to be about the cosmic universe also, but someone that's not a big cosmic universe fan, they don't make it interesting for, I guess, not newcomers, because obviously I'm not a newcomer to comics, but a newcomer to the cosmic universe. And they don't really make it interesting. You know, a lot of newcomers are going to read Star-Lord, and Guardians of the Galaxy in general, a lot of people are reading now. Even in the past, not a lot of people read the title that much, so, or wasn't as popular as a title. So I wish they kind of explained things a little more. This is definitely, if you've been a Star-Lord fan for years, you're probably going to enjoy this, but if you're not a Star-Lord fan for years like me, it's just a lot of past events that happened that they're referencing and now continuing that story. So for me, as someone that doesn't really care about collecting items in the cosmic universe, I didn't love this issue, and also I thought the art was a little sketchy. I didn't love it. I really do like the art previously from the last story arc. That's what kind of drove me to this series. It was that art style that was very similar to Nova. I think it was actually the same artist as Nova. So yeah, a little disappointed with the art. I would say the detail in the faces I didn't love. So I like the Kitty Pryde and Star-Lord stuff. I kind of enjoy that they don't know where this relationship's going, because as a reader, you don't really know where it's going. Is there a relationship? Is it not? So that was fun, but there's not much of it, so that was the only part I really enjoyed of it. So I'm going to give it a 2.5. I was just kind of bored as someone that's not a big cosmic fan for that. Number 16 is Thor, issue 1. I know a lot of people actually like this issue a lot, but I think you have to be more of a Thor fan to like it. And you're might questioning, Kat, why did you get Thor if you're not a Thor fan? I didn't get Captain America because I'm not a Captain America fan either. But the reason I got Thor was because we're seeing this new female Thor, and I thought that was kind of interesting. I was even tempted to get that new Captain America with the new Falcon, you know, Falcon being the new Captain America, but there's just too many books out this week, so I had to choose one, and I chose Thor because I thought, hey, it's a new character, it might really be interesting. And what upset me is that you don't really get to see the new character at all. You just see stuff that we've already seen. The only part we get to see of the new character is her pick up the hammer, and we don't really know who she is. And that's pretty much it. Most of the issue is Thor crying about him not being able to pick up his hammer. You know, honestly, I thought it was an okay issue. It wasn't bad. This is the point where we're getting a lot better of issues, but art was a little sketchy for me, at least for Thor. I mean, you have beautiful artwork like this, but it's also a little grimy in a way, especially like when you look at Thor's beard. Not a particular fan of his beard here. But yeah, overall, it was an okay issue. I honestly was just expecting something else. I was personally a little disappointed, especially for someone that just didn't want to hear about Thor. I want to hear about this new character. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. I'm going to try to stick it through just to see when we get to see the new character, if she's interesting enough. So I'll stick it through for a couple more issues and see where it goes. But I give this 3 stars. Alright, I think we're up to number 16? Let's see. We're up to number 15. Number 15 is Spider-Man 2099 issue 4. This issue felt a bit fillerish. I would say this whole story arc kind of did. I really enjoyed issue 2. My Spider Slayer said, hey, Kat, you gotta buy issue 2 as a Spider-Man fan. So I was like, alright, let me buy issue 2, but I loved it. It was such a great issue. And then, like, when I pick it up, we go into this story arc, which is about the Spider Slayers, Scorpion, which I'm not a big fan of those villains, and I don't think it really progressed the story that much. They just went to see, hey, we need to get these Spider Slayers for Liz Allen. Oh, wait, they're kind of bad. And then Tiberius decides, you know what, we don't want these Spider Slayers. And they go back and they don't have the Spider Slayers anymore. The only thing I really got from that is that Tiberius might be becoming a better person now that he didn't want these Spider Slayers. So I liked that portion of it. But Scorpion, I just didn't love. He thought he was Spider-Man. It felt fillerish to me. And also the art, the inking of it. Well, first of all, the coloring was very bright. A little bit too bright for the comic. And then the inking, I didn't really love the shadows of everyone's faces. Honestly, it felt like they were miscellaneous, didn't really need it. Without the shadows, it probably would have been better. So, yeah, overall, it was an okay issue. No, it wasn't horrible. I still enjoyed reading it, but it did feel very fillerish. So for me, I'm going to give it 3 stars, and definitely up to you guys if you want to pick it up. But I'm leaning more towards just pick up the next story arc filler. So let's move on to number 14. Gotham Academy, issue 1. Yeah, I know a lot of people were kind of polarized with this issue. I was actually really looking forward to Gotham Academy. I know a lot of people were like, oh, Gotham Academy looks kind of stupid. Yeah, I know a lot of people who said that, but people are still trying it also because it is a Bat book. But what I looked from this, when I first heard of it, a fun Bat book, which I seriously think we need and should be in character. Yeah, I'm pointing at Batgirl by saying that. I will have a review for Batgirl very early next week. But anyways, going back to it, we do need more fun titles for Batman. I thought Gotham Academy could be that title. I'm a sucker for high school type school stories, so I was looking forward to this. When I initially thought of Gotham Academy, I thought, wait, we get like Stephanie Brown, all these like actual Batman characters here, and then I find out they're all original characters, so I was a little skeptical about it. But let's see what's going on here. So with this issue, we meet Olive, who's the main character, and there's something that happened. We don't know what happened, but she's not the same person she was. She kind of wants to break up with her boyfriend, doesn't know how to say it, and she has this connection to Batman. And there's this mystery, like, ghost story going on in the Gotham Academy book. What did I think about it? Obviously, it's kind of low, but I thought it was okay. I don't think it tempted me enough to get issue 2. If it's a light week, I kind of want to try, because the one thing that did push me to say, hey, I'm interested, is the Batman connection, obviously, because it was really intriguing. It's like, how does Batman know this girl's name? What happened here? So I'm a little intrigued by that mystery. But the character herself and the other characters, I didn't really care about. I thought it was very lengthy. I kind of got bored at times. But saying that, I think this is going to be a polarizing book. This is definitely other people's styles. It's kind of a quirky book, very like Adventure Time in a way, I feel, at least the art style is. I actually really did like the art style a lot, and it's a fun book, it is, but if you're looking for a Bat book, you're not going to get it here. But I'm going to try to stick it through, because I feel like this does have potential and just didn't have a strong first issue. So I'm going to try sticking it through. It wasn't bad, though. I think, again, it's going to be a polarizing issue. And I say try out the first issue, see if you like it, because I think it's going to depend on people's taste. So I give that 3 stars. Alright, let's move on to number 13, which is Black Widow, issue 11. Now, my comic book store didn't have Black Widow, so I had to read it digitally. What did I think about Black Widow? As you know, I don't usually get Black Widow, so why the hell did I get Black Widow this week? I got it because I was really intrigued by the X-23 team-up. I was like, oh, X-23's in this book now? Cool, let me try it out. So I did get it, and I thought it was good. I liked it. You know, I'm still not really intrigued by the main story. I'm an espionage fan, but I would say I'm not an espionage comic book fan. And I guess it depends on the character, but I'm an espionage TV fan. Definitely would say that. So I like a little bit more of the political espionage stuff, so like Homeland, the Americans, and that. So, when I read this, you know, I didn't really love the espionage part here, but I love the team-up with X-23 and Black Widow. I thought it worked really well, their chemistry was great, and it got me tempted enough to probably get the next issue. I don't know if this will be on my pull list, but I want to see where it goes. Obviously, the art's really good. That's something that did pull me into the book originally from it, but still don't know about that main story, so I gotta see where it goes, but it gave me enough to pick up that next issue. So, I'm gonna give that 3.5 stars. Moving on to number 12, which is Flash Season 0, Issue 1. A little disappointed that's kind of lower than I expected. I thought this could be a little higher. Love the cover, just saying. Love Francis Manapul. It's a variant, but still, love the cover. With this issue, we get to see a really good setup for Flash. Who is he? How's he using his powers? Who is the people at Star Labs are helping him? And honestly, I think they spoil a little for the pilot, because I've already seen the pilot, and after you see the pilot on Tuesday, go back to this issue and read the whole issue, and you can tell me where you think it was spoiled, because I can't spoil it because I did an advance review and the episode hasn't aired yet, but there is something there. I'm like, ooh, that's a little bit of a hint of what happened in the pilot. It's actually a big plot point in the pilot and a big twist, so I was a little surprised by that. But overall, I thought it was an okay issue just because not a lot's happening here, and I don't know what they're going to do with this series. I think it's a little bit too soon to have a tie-in, and I think the same thing happened with Arrow. I did not like the original Arrow tie-in. First of all, I didn't really love Season 1. But also, there was nothing really tying into. They didn't really know what stories to tell. Now with Arrow, there's the events that happen between Season 2 and Season 3, and there's other events they can tell about characters without progressing the true story. Tie-ins should be very character-driven. The one tie-in I think was perfect with the TV show, Young Justice. They told stories that really enhanced the TV show, but it didn't spoil anything, or it didn't really obviously progress the plot that much, but they told a lot of in-between stories tied into the TV show. With Flash, the first episode hasn't aired, so you really can't tie into anything. So it's really weird the way they're releasing this. But overall, I think this could be a good series. I want to see where it goes, but I don't know. I don't know where they're going to go with it. Artwork I really like. It actually reminds me of the Judd Winnick, Kevin Smith run, where we had that kind of blocky artwork, but it fits for this story. And I think it fit with Green Arrow, fits with Flash. So overall, I'm going to give it 3.5. I'm going to try a second issue, but I don't know where it's going to go. We'll see. Alright, so next is number 11, which is Batman Eternal, issue 26. I like this issue. You know, something that really upset me with this issue, actually, is that the art was so bad that I wish I could give this issue higher, because the story was actually really good. And the art was very sloppy, felt lazy, and that was a big downfall of the book. It felt like puffy, their faces. I did not like the art at all. Here's another example. I don't know, just did not like it, and it was hard to get into the book because of it, but the story was really good. We got to see the Bat family finally come together and calling on Bruce's shit, pretty much, saying, hey, let us help you because there's problems here. And Bruce deal with, you know, Alfred being in the hospital, but I love just seeing the Bat family come together and interacting with Alfred's daughter, which was great, and I think she's become a great character in Batman Eternal. And we get to see the origins of Hush, which is really cool. I thought they did this very well, telling who Hush exactly is and why he's so crazy. So I won't spoil the origin story, but I thought that was really well told. And then Stephanie and Cluemaster's interaction, which was great because it's so Stephanie. Stephanie thinks she's smarter than Cluemaster, goes to the jail, and ready to publish everything that Cluemaster did, and Cluemaster's screwed with her. And she's like, what? How did you do that? So it's just like Stephanie, where she does a lot of wrong things, but you're going to see as the series goes on that even though that she does wrong, she tries to fix it, and usually she does in her own way. She might not do it perfectly, but she fixes her mistakes, and she makes a lot of mistakes. That's the fun thing about her character, so I thought that was a really great scene. So overall, I really did like the issue. The story was really good, and this could have been a lot higher if the artwork was better, and that shows, you know, bad artwork with a really good story. So overall, I gave it a 3.5. I still really enjoyed the story, and I thought it was a good comic. It's worth picking up, but obviously there's faults to it too. But I do recommend this one. The story was really well done. Alright, so now we're up to number 10, right? Yes, we're up to number 10. Which is Spider-Verse issue 4. I like this issue. Now, I don't think everyone's gonna like this. If you don't like the horror aspects of anything, even though it's Halloween, you should celebrate horror. But if you don't like horror stories, you're not gonna like this. It's very kind of disgusting horror stuff. But for me, I thought this was a really cool twist. Even though I did not like Peter oh, well, his name's not even Peter here. I don't even remember his name, but it's not Peter. I don't love his character. He had a horrible uncle, so it's the opposite of Uncle Ben. He was a creeper looking at Mary Jane, and Mary Jane's trying to be nice to him. He gets bit by a spider, but instead of getting spider powers, he turns into a spider and starts eating people and eating animals. And by the end, he affects Mary Jane, and she's either dead or like becomes something. I don't know. I think he's honestly trying to mate with her. And I don't know what she'll become after, but who knows, because the story's over. And he dies in the end, so we won't be seeing this Peter again, but it's interesting to see which Peters die, or which Spider-Men die, and which don't, and which one will be in Spider-Verse. I thought this was good, and I thought the artwork was really good for this series. That's something that really brought it up for me. It had this horror aspect to it. It was bright enough, but dark enough at the same time. Love the artwork here. Story-wise, again, it's a little creepy, but I liked it. I thought it was a good book. It wasn't like my favorite book ever. It's not my favorite Spider-Verse issue, but I think it's worth picking up if you like horror elements. It's a total twist to Peter's origins and Peter's character in general. So, and also if you like Mary Jane, she's here too. She hasn't really been in a Spider-Verse book, so I was happy to see Mary Jane, even though her character was not great here. Her character really isn't great in any of these Spider-Verse books, especially in Gwen Stacy, but not great in a good way. But yeah, overall, I like this issue. I thought it was a good horror book, and I recommend it. It was good. I liked it. 3.5. Number 9 is Detective Comics, issue 35. I was really surprised by this, because I haven't been loving Detective Comics, even though I'm a big Buccellato and Matapool fan. I love their Flash run, and I loved a lot of their work they've done. But I didn't really love their first Detective Comics run, and I mean, I'm excited to see where it goes, but I didn't love their first story arc. Now, this is actually not a Francis Matapool and Buccellato story. I guess just for Halloween, they're trying to do a little bit more of a haunting story. And with this issue, it really goes into, like, things happening now. Sickness, terrorism, so things that you're seeing in the news, you're seeing in this issue. And I really haven't seen DC attack those things, so I thought it was interesting the way they did that, especially in like a Detective Comics book. So there's this plane that crashes, and there's this sickness in the plane, and everyone's affected by the sickness. And this guy just wants to destroy America because he doesn't believe in its beliefs. So it was really political, and I really enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. The artwork fit totally. I wasn't expecting to like the artwork, but it fit this book a lot. And I was really impressed by it. I thought it was a solid story, and I enjoyed it. I recommend this if you want a really cool story talking about topics that's happening now, but not really talking about them. I thought it was really good. I'm excited for the next part. I think it's a 2-part story. Yeah, really good issue. I'm going to give that 4 stars. Alright, now we're up to number 8, which is Uncanny Avengers, issue 25. This is the March of Axis tie-in, which honestly, if you're reading Axis, I personally really recommend this issue because it leads up to Axis. And, you know, usually with these tie-ins, like, it doesn't actually lead up to Axis, but this really does. The ending, you find out who the villain of Axis is and how he's created. You know, one thing I love about Uncanny Avengers, and I've been saying this is my favorite Avengers series because it truly is, and I figured it out with this issue why. It's so character-driven. Even though I'm not, like, a big fan of all these characters, it's so character-driven that you care about them. And even if you're not a huge fan of Scarlet Witch or Rogue, you just get in their heads, and it's really cool. And if you like the Avengers, if you like X-Men, it's a book I totally recommend. And the artwork's beautiful. Love, love the artwork for this series. It's great. That's what really pulled me into it also. Right here. So what is this issue about? We get to see that Magneto's just angry. He wants to defeat Red Skull. He's pissed. And Red Skull's kind of attacking him with words, saying Charles Xavier never liked you, he would never be proud of you, and the reason he didn't want to die is he was afraid to die was because he didn't want the X-Men to be turned over to you. And this is not Magneto's narration in this issue, but Scarlet Witch's. And having that fear of a child and being scared of Magneto because he was always so angry, I love that narration. I thought you really got into Scarlet Witch's head, and why she hated Magneto so much and why she followed him in a way was because she was scared of him. And I thought that was such a strong narration here. I loved it. Loved what Scarlet Witch had to say. And it stays so true to Magneto and Scarlet Witch's relationship and why she does the things she does. So, and you see the anger of Magneto here trying to beat up Red Skull and even kills him in a way, but when he kills him, he becomes even stronger. So that's why it really does tie into Axis, because you see who the villain is of Axis. I'm not a big Red Skull fan, but I love this issue. I'm not even a big Magneto or Scarlet Witch fan, but they made me like these characters here. Artwork was perfect. Such a good book. 4 stars for me. Really solid issue. Pick this up. If you're not reading Uncanny Avengers, I really recommend the series. I think it's great. Alright, I think we're up to number 7. Yes. Number 7 is Morning Glories, issue 41. Yes. Morning Glories. Love this series. It's great. And with this, you get to see a little bit more in the head of Gwaltney. Can never say his name, Gwaltney. We get inside his head, and he's like this best player of, I think it's called Tower Ball. Gotta make sure if that's the name of it. I think it's called Tower Ball. Yeah, so he's the best player. It's a game that they play in Morning Glories, but it's also a statement in the Morning Glories Academy, because if you're on the blue team, you lose somehow. You try your hardest, but you're always losing. If you're on the red team, that means you win. So Gwaltney, he ends up on the blue team as the captain. So he's going to try screw with the Morning Glories Academy. And also, we get to see the relationship between Hun and Gwaltney, and they're trying to resurrect Horatio, and Horatio and Gwaltney were in a relationship. They love each other. So Gwaltney's going to try to do everything that's possible to try to get Horatio back. So he's just trying to, like, destroy the system of Morning Glories. I really like this. You know, one of the newer characters I do like was Gwaltney. I thought he was a really interesting character. And I think he was the more memorable one. One thing I always had a little bit of criticism of, or at least for me, it was something I didn't really like, was that these new characters of Morning Glories, I thought they were adding too much and we needed the focus on the original characters. But Gualmine was actually a really interesting new character and connected more to the original characters like Han and Horatio. So I really enjoyed this. This is a 4-star book. Love the artwork. Let me just show you guys that. Joe Eisma's artwork is amazing. One of the things that really brought me to the issue, to the series in the first place was his artwork. So, love the artwork and totally recommend Morning Glories if you're not reading it. And really like the aspect of Tower Ball. I thought that was a cool game, and I love in the end, because I always have to read the end. Because sometimes Morning Glories is confusing, so they explain the issue to you. And sometimes you'll have to read that to see, kind of get in the mind of the writer, even though they say it's not, oh, we don't actually know what's happening in Nick Spencer's mind. But I'm sure they know a little bit what's happening in Morning Glories if they're trying to explain it. But they also mentions, like, I'm sure all the Morning Glories fans are going to play Tower Ball now at conventions. I'm like, they probably are, and I hope they do now. But yeah, really solid issue. 4 stars for me. Number 6 is Silver Surfer, issue 6. Really cool issue. Now, I've been really shocked with Silver Surfer because it's Dan Slott, but it's so different from Spider-Man. It's a different vibe, and I really like the relationship with Norrin Radd and Dawn. I think they have really good chemistry, and Dawn is a good companion. And obviously, it's Doctor Who. It's just like Doctor Who. And it's interesting. I'm not a big Doctor Who fan, but I like it. I do like the aspect of that. So with this issue, we get to see the human things with Dawn. So she has to go to the bathroom, she has to eat, and Norrin Radd's not used to this. Like, oh, come on, girl. We gotta go through the galaxy. We gotta do stuff. Why you gotta ruin all this? And she has to get ice cream. So she goes to the best place in the world, and everyone's perfect here. Everyone has their job. Someone's number 1, someone's number 2. And since everyone's perfect, they see, oh my god, they're imperfect, you gotta go get them, they're outsiders. And the warrior, he tries to fight them because that's part of their job on this planet, and Norrin Radd and Dawn take the badge away from him, so now he's an outcast of this place, and he's gonna be definitely an arch nemesis of the series. And he's like, I'm gonna get you for this, Norrin Radd. And Dawn's upset that she has an arch nemesis now, but they're happy that they can see some beautiful things in the galaxy at the same time. I thought this was a really solid issue. I really enjoyed it. I love the first part. The first half I thought was hilarious, where Dawn's trying to get ice cream, how to go to the bathroom. I love the paneling for it. I thought it was perfect. Artwork, I really like Allred's artwork. I know he's an acquired taste, but I personally really liked his artwork, especially for Silver Surfer. And I thought it was a really fun issue. I like the idea of these people being perfect and this guy becoming an outcast after. A solid story, had a lot of fun with it. Pick up Silver Surfer. I think it's a really surprising series, so 4 stars for me. Let's move on to number 5, which is Tiny Titans, Return to the Treehouse, issue 5. I love this issue. It was so cute. We get to see that they're trying to find a treehouse on Paradise Island. And Paradise Island. Yeah, Paradise Island. I don't know why that sounded weird. Anyways, they're trying to find a treehouse on Paradise Island, and it's not working for them. They have to wear pink slippers just to stay on land, and they make fun of the multiverse. It was hilarious. They make fun of Wonder Woman's invisible plane, and they have camouflage, and no one can see the invisible plane because there's camouflage. But of course they can see it when it's invisible. They end up getting an invisible treehouse. This issue was great. Even if you're not a Wonder Woman fan, if you're just a DC fan, this was hilarious. The artwork, of course, is so great. This is an all-ages book. It's not a kid book. It's an all-ages book. If you like DC, it references so many great things. It's a great comedy book, even better than Harley Quinn. This is the best comedy DC book. It's great. Read it. 4.5 stars for me. Loved it. Alright, so let's move on to number 4, which is Justice League, issue 34. Really good issue. Loved it. We get to see a lot of different things with different characters. You get to see Lex Luthor's motives, Captain Cold's motives, and the Justice League's motives. Pretty much they all want to backstab each other. Lex Luthor is teaming up with Owlman and kind of wants to backstab the Justice League. Captain Cold definitely wants to backstab the Justice League. He just wants to make the biggest chunk of change ever and do the biggest job, and we get to see that revealed here. And the Justice League doesn't trust Lex Luthor. That's obviously a big thing. And they say if you want to be a hero, it's to save people, not to use your money to save people. It's to actually care for them. So I really like that part. Also, we could see some Power Ring story where Jessica wants to learn about her powers, not take it off and get rid of it. She wants to learn. So I have a feeling she's going to end up becoming a Green Lantern because she'll have so much willpower to take off the ring or control the ring, unless she stays Power Ring, which I don't know if they're going to do that. I really do think they're going to make her a Green Lantern, but we'll see in the end. But all the stories are really interesting. I really liked how people want to backstab each other, and it had some great twists. Bringing Owlman back was interesting because we still got to see what's going on with Superwoman. I'm still curious about that, and they're keeping that for a reason. And my favorite part, actually, was this Lex Luthor scene. It's Lex Luthor saying, oh, well, I'm gonna, you know, pay all my money to give people food. And then Wonder Woman says, that's not what it's about. And this girl gives this plant to Lex Luthor. So this is the only beautiful thing in our country, and now there's a lot of beautiful things. He gives it to Lex Luthor. And I love that little hug and that, you know, that face Lex Luthor gives. Can Lex Luthor change? Probably not, but that was that glimmer of hope. And I thought that was the best scene of the issue. Really good issue. The artwork was a little bright for me. I'm used to the other artist that usually does this book, but it was good art. Just didn't really expect that art. Very bright, but I liked it. It was a good issue, 4.5 for me. I think I didn't give it 5 stars because of the artwork, but the story was really good. Pick this up, definitely. Now we're moving on to number 3, which is Fantastic Four Annual, Issue 1. I was really surprised by this. I mean, I was expecting to like it, but I didn't expect it to like it as much as I did. It's actually a really important issue to the Fantastic Four series too. So usually with these annuals, they're like, oh, I just read it and there's like a one-shot story. But this is actually really important to Sue Storm's character, Sue Richards' character here. So what happened is that Sue is really upset. She needs her family again. So she goes to Valeria and she goes to Dr. Doom and she's like, I'm bringing my daughter back. And Dr. Doom's like, no, you're not. Your daughter should choose on her own. And she's like, no, I'm bringing Valeria. And she uses the force field and destroys Latveria? I can never pronounce that. Latveria. Anyway, so she goes to attack Latveria. It's all destroyed. And you get to see that Sue's kind of a little nuts. She yells at her daughter, calling her a brat, and you're like, ah, something's wrong here. Something's wrong. So we find out that Maniac probably is taking over her again. And Valeria is so scared. She cries and she's like, please don't take me. And I thought that was just a great ending. And Sue's like, all right, I'm going to back off and I'm going to go by myself. She kind of lost her daughter because of it. So what did I think about this issue? It was great. I did not expect such a great issue. At first I thought it was a little weird that Sue was acting so strange, but at the same time it wasn't weird because everything's been taken away from her, and just like, you know, any parent, I would say, it's just that you get a little upset, you know, you're only human, and I thought they were showing that a lot here, that Sue's been through so much and she's only human. I mean, I thought it went a little far where she called her a brat. It was like, we coddled you too much. I'm like, Sue Storm would never say that, but I thought they were just showing how much she's been through. But the whole Maniac thing just made total sense, and I'm really excited to see where they go with this, because it's been a long time since we've seen that character. So yeah, really enjoyed this, and I love the interaction between Valeria and Sue. It was surprising. It was emotionally strong. The dialogue was great here, and it just shows how strong Sue is, really. And I love the line where she's like, I don't have to be invisible anymore, because it just goes back to, like, her character truly just being this invisible person on the team that didn't really matter much, and she wasn't that strong. But as the years go on, and really the modern times go on, she becomes a really strong character, and you see that here. Her powers are, it's not just turning invisible. These force fields could do a lot, and you see that a lot in this issue. So if you're a Sue Storm fan, I totally recommend this. And, I mean, I think some Sue Storm fans might be upset, but personally I thought it just shows how much this character has been through. So, really enjoyed this issue. And I loved how much Sue put Valerie in her place. She's like, you little brat, come here. You don't put a robot to talk to your mother. That's what Valerie did. She didn't even want to be in person. I love that Sue said, you're too busy to talk to your mother. I mean, obviously, Sue went a little bit too far with it. But I just thought Sue put her in her place. And we've been questioning why the hell Sue, like, make Valerie a 3-year-old go with Dr. Doom, and Sue also mentions about the things Dr. Doom has done. It's like, I was only nice to you. I never forgave you. So there's just a lot of great emotion here, and referencing a lot of events for the Fantastic Four and Sue Storm in general. So great issue, 4.5. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars, I thought the artwork was a little lacking. I do like the other artists for the series, but understandable because it's annual, but really enjoyed the story. Loved it. Great issue, 4.5 for me. Number 2 is Green Arrow, issue 35. This blew my mind, this issue. You know, I wasn't a big Green Arrow Lemire fan. I'm a big pre-New 52 fan of Green Arrow. Obviously, you love the show Arrow. I didn't love how dark Lemire's run was for it, and I didn't recognize Oliver in the series. Again, I thought it was too dark. It was not in character at all. For me, personally, as a Green Arrow fan before New 52. Big improvement from what we got in the beginning of the New 52, just wasn't my total style. So when I heard the Arrow writers were taking over Green Arrow, I was happy. And then I heard Felicity was coming into it. I was extremely happy. And I know, you know, some people were against it because, why do you have to bring all these Arrow people? Personally, I think it's interesting because they didn't do it for Smallville. You know, Chloe Sullivan was such a big character, one of my favorite TV characters of all time, but they never really integrated Chloe enough into the comic, and that's why she kind of disappeared. She never really ended up in the comics, and she's only in that show. I mean, they tried a lot of times, but it just never worked. So even though Felicity's already in the comic books, it's bringing her into this Arrow universe, which I thought was really smart, because she's a very successful character on television. Why not bring her into the comic books, especially if we can't have characters like Black Canary or Roy? We need a better supporting cast, and that's on the live shows we've had many discussions about this, how the supporting cast and the family of Green Arrow is so important, but we never saw it. And what happens here is that we get the family back. We truly do. And we get the essence of who Oliver is that we never got to see with Lemire's run, or really any of the runs in New 52. Oliver is Robin Hood in a way. He wants to protect the innocent, give the poor what the rich has, or, you know, the poor what they deserve. And you see that with the first 2 pages, and I'm like, this is Ollie. And then we get to see interaction with Diggle. It works so much. And one thing I love that I know I've read in comments on my videos that people did not like is that they pushed away all those Lemire characters, which I'm happy about, because I did not like those Lemire characters at all. And it was also characters previously before Lemire also. You know, Naomi and all these different characters. Amika was a little upset that they pushed away, but I understand why with a plot point that happened here. I was happy they moved it away. I really was. I think it just focuses on who Green Arrow truly is. And what I said in my review, and I still stand true to this, I love that they put 3 spotlights on this book. New 52 spotlight, pre-New 52 spotlight, and Arrow spotlight. All things that people love about Green Arrow into one book. And I love that about this issue. So we get to see that, you know, Oliver's back. He's working with Diggle. And we get to see a Lex Luthor Bruce Wayne moment too, so just seeing the connection with the Justice League. They're trying to take over Oliver's company, and I'm going to go to the end, and there's another spoiler thing I want to talk about. I'm going to go to the last page first though. Felicity wants to kill Oliver. We don't know why, but it's interesting. I'm interested to see how she ends up on the team, and she's a totally different Felicity, so I want to see where they go with that. I was really interested to see what's going on with Felicity, because I love Felicity in Arrow. But the thing that shocked me the most was our villain here says, I don't want to destroy Oliver Queen right now. Because he gets one of the people that were fighting Oliver in the beginning of the issue, and he's like, where's Oliver Queen? He's like, I don't care about Oliver Queen. Don't talk about, or, you know, I don't care about Green Arrow. Where's Mia Dearden? And I was like, you just mentioned Mia Dearden, and the next issue is called The Hunt for Mia Dearden. Now that's where I got 5 stars. That was amazing. Also, the artwork's really good for this series too. But Mia Dearden being in this series blew my mind. First of all, just getting Felicity and Dig and just fixing everything of the New 52. They fixed it all here in this first issue, in my opinion. But Mia Dearden, bringing her here, I didn't expect her to be in the New 52 at all. Even though I love the character, I just never expected it. Just everything that was going on with Green Arrow in the DC Universe, they didn't want family. And Green Arrow especially, the family's not in the series that much. And I thought the supporting characters were very lacking. Then when we had Amika, I'm like, oh, we already have a female Green Arrow. Like, or, yeah, I think she calls herself a female Green Arrow here too. So we already have that. Why would we get Mia Dearden? And I'm so happy because that character is so good. Read Judd Winnick's, read Kevin Smith's Green Arrow, because that character is one of the most unique characters in the DC Universe, and I love her character, and I can't wait to see what they do with her in New 52. Hopefully they don't ruin her, but these writers know what they're doing. You know, Thea's character is based on Mia, so I like that they brought Mia in here, because they can't use an Arrow, and I think those Arrow writers want to talk about Mia. So will they go the route what she was in the pre-New 52? I hope so. I really do. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I'm intrigued why the hell they want to hunt down Mia Dearden. But yeah, this was amazing. I loved it. 5 stars. If it was another week, this definitely could have been pick of the week. But what was number 1? Death of Wolverine. Blew my mind. As a Kitty Pryde fan, Kitty Pryde's my second favorite character of all time. With this issue, we get to see that Wolverine is saved by Kitty Pryde in a way. Kitty Pryde's like badass in this issue. Punches Deathstrike's hand and destroys her hand with her facing powers. So you just see how strong she has become with her powers. And she's ready to kill somebody. And she's helping out Wolverine and saying, hey, you know what's going on? What do we do with this? How do we defeat Ogun? And we find out that Kitty kisses Wolverine, and Wolverine's like, no, I don't like you like that. And at the moment, I was like, what just happened? This issue's awesome. What's going on here? And then they did something that made this issue even better. We find out that Kitty Pryde was taken over by Ogun, and I'll tell you the significance of that as we move on with this issue. And we get to see an epic fight between Ogun and Wolverine, and the strength of Kitty Pryde trying to get her body back. And that's what happens. We see who the true villain is for Death of Wolverine, which I won't spoil right now, but we see the true villain and who Ogun's working for in a way. I love this issue, first of all, because I love the Wolverine and the Kitty Pryde miniseries, and this is like a sequel to that in a way, even though there's been like plenty of sequels to it, like, you know, Kitty Pryde's miniseries from Shadow and Fire. There's been many stories that continue it, but this was a breath of fresh air. First of all, Death of Wolverine is the best Wolverine series I've probably read ever, or in a really long time. It's been such a fun ride. The artwork is beautiful. Just look at this artwork. It's such beautiful artwork. And the story here, I think a lot of people won't understand, like, the significance, or if you didn't read the Death of Wolverine, the Kitty Pryde and Wolverine miniseries, you won't understand the significance of Ogun taking Kitty Pryde over. It might say, oh, someone took her over, this is stupid. There's much significance, because in the miniseries, Ogun takes over Kitty Pryde. And Wolverine, this is how the bond of Wolverine and Kitty Pryde forms, is Wolverine teaching Kitty Pryde discipline in martial arts and teaching her how to be a ninja to get Ogun out of her body, because Ogun makes Kitty Pryde cut off all her hair, and this is like the devil incarnated. So she learns to be a ninja, she holds a sword for about 2 days straight, and she comes up with her nickname in that issue, Shadowcat. She becomes Shadowcat in that miniseries. So the significance of Ogun taking her over again and having the strength to let him out and find out stuff in Ogun's mind was so strong. I loved it. And also, we get to see the connection of Kitty Pryde and Wolverine. I haven't seen this connection in such a long time, especially at the Battle of the Atom. And I think this issue proves of why I was so upset at Battle of the Atom. Battle of the Atom, Kitty Pryde just leaves Wolverine for no reason. I'm like, what? Like, why is she going to Cyclops? She's not even good friends with Cyclops. So with this, it just proves that friendship between, and that father-daughter relationship between Wolverine and Kitty Pryde. If you're a Kitty Pryde fan, you have to read this. Even if you're not, this is an amazing issue. And it just, again, read Wolverine and Kitty Pryde miniseries, because that is a great miniseries that leads up to this book. And it's one of my favorite stories of all time. So, honestly, pick this up. It was amazing. There's a lot of great books this week, but that book blew my mind. Read it, totally loved it. And those are all my books that I really enjoyed this week. Those are all the books I read. Tell me in the comments below what you liked. What was your pick of the week? What was your worst pick of the week? And everything in between. And then, of course, I'll have a Comic and Note episode next week. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic and Note and Rant Situations. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there's links from my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. And I'll see you guys later.